Oh, we're going to address the elephant in the room. Right.
The progressive elephant.
So that's your hat, Al?
Yeah, it was my hat. So basically,
Okay.
Sam gave me it as a present. You found it where? In
At a car boot sale.
yeah.
Rummage on the range.
Rummage on the-
Carlton Club.
Carlton Club.
Awesome. Every month. Car boot sale. Amazing.
Sick.
And yeah, basically, Sam gifted me that when I met up at his house before we came here to do the session that everyone will see in a minute.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just thoughtfully left it on his couch and forgot to bring it.
You
And
bastard.
I know. And for that, I'd like to say live on the podcast, I'm very sorry.
Oh.
And thank you for bringing it back.
It's a good. I like it. I like the message, man.
It's a strong message, and I think it's important as a prog fan for other prog fans
That is.
to understand that it's all right to like prog. Like actually, since lockdown, there was a sort of shameless kind of return to form for me getting back into prog,
Okay.
because for a while it was sort of like a dirty thing to be into.
Yeah.
And there's a few of us, like locally, a few Manchester guys who are all into the same sorts of bands, and
Including John, the drummer.
Yeah.
yeah.
Like, you know, they.
So yeah, there's like getting back into playing. I was a big fan of Rush. I'm not going to talk about it for too long. Don't worry.
You can if you want, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, go for gold.
Oh, well, so anyway,
So
my favourite 20 albums. But yeah, so like going back and listening to all that sort of thing, it was kind of reconnecting with what I really enjoyed about playing music and that sort of thing. And it was listening to music for the sake of just enjoying it rather than having to learn it or having to, you know, get something from it to then apply to something else. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it's been quite good fun to get back into the prog stuff. I've been showing you a couple of things, and I think you liked some of that.
I made a terrible mistake last summer.
All right.
So Al and I spent last summer delivering beer for Shindigger. Shout out to Shindigger. I was like, and so obviously, like, you know, you're spending like 10 hours on your own in a car delivering beer, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so I was like, right, well, do you know what? These guys have been banging on about it for such a long time. I'm gonna
Give it a go.
I'm gonna listen.
It's making me angry. Even you bringing this up.
I'm gonna listen to some Rush.
Okay.
So I was like, okay. So I got the Spotify playlist. This is Rush. Play. And I messaged Al and I was like, I'm not getting it, man. I'm just not getting it. And what came back to me was probably the angriest Al has ever been.
Are you serious?
I tend not to be so angry.
Honestly, like you've never been shouted at like Al shouting at you about prog.
No. Really?
He was like, but I mean, fair play. Like he was like, why are you listening to a best of playlist? They're a prog rock band. Like the whole point of prog is that everything comes in the like. There aren't real. I mean, obviously they've got to promote themselves for singles and stuff like that. But like, it's not about singles, is it? It's about it's about or if they've got like a banger, and they do have bangers, they definitely do. Like it's about what that banger is within the context of the album. So if you're just listening to all their bangers out of context, it sounds disjointed and weird and stuff like that. And also like there's the earlier Rush where they're dressing up in capes and singing about wizards and
yes,
Also great. What's wrong with capes?
D&D, bro.
I was gonna link this to D&D because basically,
Right.
I don't know. I guess it's that kind of ethereal world bigger than yourself, that sort of thing. When I was younger and I was well into it, I mean, my dad was into prog, and that's why I got onto it. So Rush, Kansas, I don't know, Camel,
Journey.
Yes.
Journey don't count, I'm afraid. They're an
really?
album-oriented rock band.
Well,
This could be a podcast on its own, so come to my podcast.
would you say like Pink Floyd as well? Go that way?
Pink Floyd as well.
Okay, yeah.
Not quite as much as the others, but yeah, definitely in there in the mix. But yeah, I would say that's my sort of version of this. Like as a teenager, I wasn't as into like sort of songs about girls and you know.
You can tell.
Be nice.
Sorry. I apologize.
So
I'm sorry. You look at you.
yeah, all of that. So that, my point being. This was only going to go this way, you know that.
Oh God!
All right, lads, let's get a brew. Al's going to talk.
Go now. What were you saying?
Right.
Go on.
My point being, there's songs about bigger things, about like sort of alternate universes, about I don't know, like you say, wizards and capes. There's an element of that, but also like just the idea of something bigger than yourself, like rather than sort of being quite focused in what you know around you, like your surroundings and all that. It's bigger than that. It's quite sci-fi-esque, or it draws from sort of I don't know, poetry and like
mythology and stuff like
yeah,
that. Yeah,
and like, but then also with the kind of like rock element that sort of links it back to being, I don't know, grounded in that way.
Yeah.
But I'd say that listening to prog when I was younger,
Rush is grounded. Is that what you're saying?
In a way.
in a way. But yeah, I'd definitely say that my prog sort of influence when I was younger has definitely informed the way I play an X-Men B team and other stuff as well. Like, just basically trying to turn everything a little bit more rocky than the person initially wanted, and not being scared of time signatures should they appear, which is, I think is fair enough. Yeah. I'll take that.
Yeah, man. Yeah, definitely.
I'll now drink a beer, thank you.
That's the prog section of the podcast. Back to the
No, it's not.
That's what you thought.
But no, I'm. But as I said, like having listened to. What was the album that you gave to me?
I recommended Snakes and Arrows by Rush, which was an album that came out in about 2007 or so quite late.
Amazing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, absolutely. But I think that what we arrived at was that the most important thing for me in rock music is tone.
Yeah.
So like that album just has like absolute tone for days in the guitars, you know what I mean, like that.
Right. Okay.
That's what I want. Like, and I think if you layer up 10 guitars and play it to me, I'll be like, that sounds fucking. That's it, mate. That's what I need.
Yeah.
I mean,
Big old tube amp, just like broken up, just sweet chorus, like all that stuff. Like,
Yeah.
But all of that. So that's what it is, and I guess that's like, the quality of the sound.
Yeah,
the not the quality of the sound, because it's no the quality isn't any different. But I mean, you can say what you want about they in the 70s obviously they didn't have what they had in
tech,
there. Yeah, they didn't have that at their disposal. But yeah, I definitely like I think the alternative music that I grew up with was definitely kind of, because I didn't have the dad into prog. Like my parents listened to Mozart, and we had classic FM on all the time. So I'll talk to you about Rachmaninoff's piano preludes and all that kind of stuff. Like,
I've not heard that, man. I was like,
I probably couldn't anymore. But but yeah, so like I guess I kind of came to that kind of music my own way, and so that was when I was young. That was I don't know, Linkin Park and Limp Bizkit and all that kind of stuff. But like it still means a lot. You know, like whatever it is that you're into, it still shapes you as a person.
Yeah. And like I should say at this point that when Sam went off and sort of listened to Rush, there was one shift where we were both working at Shindigger, so we both pulled up, loaded the beers into the car, and then went, right, we're ready to go, off we go to deliver the beers. I get a phone call from Sam just as I pulled out the unit, saying, right, today I want you to listen to, and which album was it? It was second, was it Sum 41? No, it wasn't that.
I mean, it might have been.
Yeah.
All killer, no filler.
Yeah, well, it was,
album,
but the one I really resonated with, there was an album by Incubus. Which one was that?
Science by Incubus.
Right.
That's amazing. Like, yeah.
So like while I was doing that, Sam then listened to a different album that I'd recommended that was perhaps a little bit more. It was a little bit more modern. It was like Frost or something.
Frost, that was
good.
amazing.
Yeah.
Frost, okay.
I don't know that one.
But it was quite a good vehicle, again, because like it was good to listen to something and not necessarily have to know exactly what the bass part was or learn the lyrics for something. Like you could just be absorbed in the whole album.
Thank you for listening. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast to catch up on new episodes every week. Also, check us out on our Facebook and Instagram at RecRooms, where you can find out about our other exciting music series. We also have this and all our other episodes of the podcast up on our RecRooms YouTube channel for your viewing pleasure. See you next time.